going to be Michael Kennedy, then Perry Howard, and Ernst Shostak. And what they're going to be doing is taking the risk and the chances that you did today, same problem with the same actors and actors.
Yes.
FBI?
Yes, sir.
Federal Bureau of Investigation?
Yes, sir.
Law grad?
Yes.
American University? Been doing it for 8 years.
Yes.
During that time, you've had training
Yes.
at Quantico, other places. FBI trained you well.
Yes.
With respect to some of that training, you specialize, right?
Yes, I
The
do.
FBI, you've done, FBI does bank robbery cases, drug cases, white-collar cases, crimes that may occur on the Indian reservation, and investigation techniques differ in each of those areas,
Yes, I do.
but they're basics you need to learn well. You've had those basics, you've learned them,
Yes.
you've taught them,
Yes.
you've lived them.
Yes.
You've had your successes,
Yes, sir.
and you've had a lot of successes. You now are in espionage, right?
Yes, I am.
Highest calling,
Yes.
God and country, right?
Yes.
The victim of an espionage is everyone in our country, right?
Yes, it is.
It's an honor to be here.
Yes.
You take it very seriously.
Yes, I do.
And in fact, you are an expert in surveillance when you're in an advanced surveillance area, right?
Yes.
Advanced techniques. So one thing that you learn in surveillance is where to surveil, right?
Yes.
Where you surveil can make the difference between catching the bad guy and having them go, right?
Yes.
So one area that you can surveil in is in an automobile, but that's out on a street, right?
Yes.
People can see you. You're limited in where you can look. You can't stand by your car. You have to be in your car. You have to be in your car acting like somebody who just happens to be there, right?
Yes.
But if you're in your car acting like somebody happens to be there for an hour, somebody might say something, right?
Yes.
So for instance, if you're in a neighborhood where there's a bar for an hour or two, somebody might not notice your car, right? But if 3 hours go by, 4 hours go by, they may notice you. 5 hours go by, a day goes by, 2 days go by, 3 days go by. In that kind of surveillance, you risk not catching the person, right?
Yes.
All right? And inside a car, if you're looking towards the direction that you're viewing, you can actually look out the front.
Yes.
You're looking through that glass, though, right?
Yes.
And you're using your own eyes, right?
Yes.
It's hard to use binoculars there, right? Somebody might see you. It's hard to use a camera, right? Somebody might see you. It's hard to use some of the advanced techniques that you learned, right?
Yes.
And you teach about,
Yes.
like cameras, correct?
Yes.
Cameras can record what is happening in the moment, right? And then cameras allow you to show other people, like these ladies and gentlemen, exactly what happened,
Yes.
as if they were standing there, right? With their own eyes, correct? Staring at what happened. And cameras can be set up so that they look innocent, right? Because nowadays we have cameras that are on lights to record whether we might slide through the red light a little too quick, right? takes a snapshot. And so there are cameras mounted on those lights, right?
Yes.
And you can mount a camera there and capture what you're looking at continuously, red light, green light. And it can be done without anybody knowing that it is being done. It can be done in a way that appears that the purpose is innocent. And it can be done in a way that doesn't intrude on what you're trying to find out, right?
Yes.
Because you want someone, when you're surveilling them, to act as if they acted if they didn't know anyone was there.
Yes.
All right? Now, advanced surveillance can include a warehouse, and it can include setting up in that warehouse, correct?
Yes.
And it can include mounting cameras. And those cameras can be mounted so that you can operate inside the warehouse and get zooms, right? There are cameras that point where you're going. They can zoom, and they can record as if the person was right next to the object that is being surveilled, or the person that's being surveilled. Part of your training is also to write reports, right?
Yes.
And in those reports, you're taught to be complete, accurate, thorough, include all details. Now, in your job as an FBI agent, you work with other agents and you get reports from them, right? And you want their reports to be complete.
Yes.
You want their reports to be accurate. And you want their reports to be thorough. And you count on them when you receive their reports to be complete, thorough, and accurate.
Yes.
And so when you write a report as a supervisor, as someone who trains FBI agents, your reports are a model, right?
Yes.
You want them to look at your reports and see the best. So your reports are absolutely complete, right?
Yes.
Absolutely accurate.
Yes.
Absolutely thorough.
Yes.
Absolutely the kind of report that someone investigating espionage would want to have. When you talk with a witness, you ask them questions about what they saw, right?
Yes.
If it's a description, you want to know everything about the way they look, right?
Yes.
Height, weight, stance, clothes, black, white, Asian, Latino,
Yes.
beard, hair, short, long, style, ponytail, afro, anything about it that describes an individual.
Yes.
And so when you write your own report, when you're an eyewitness, you've used all the techniques that you've learned in talking to others and incorporated that so your personal reports are ever more accurate, even more complete, and as thorough as they possibly could be. It doesn't matter whether you write the report today, tomorrow, correct? During the investigation, after the investigation, when you write a report, it's the best you can do.
Yes.
All right. Your report is your words.
Yes.
Your diagram is your drawing. You prepared a report in this case, and just like every other report that you prepared is complete, accurate, thorough. Your diagram is your drawing, correct? It's complete, accurate, thorough. With respect to your diagram, see if this has been marked as Government Exhibit 1. You recognize it as your diagram, right?
Yes.
All right, there's a legend that indicates street lamps, right?
Yes.
So this shows the scene outside the Cubs Bar and Grill, right? That you were surveilling, right, in November for those 3 days.
Yes.
All right? And on your diagram, you have an O over here that marks your car, right?
Yes, sir.
The distance across the street is 40 feet.
Yes.
That's Front Street.
Yes.
All right? Front Street is traffic runs to the north, That diagram shows that that person advanced from the north, right? That's your drawing. Shows they entered the phone booth. It shows that they then exited the phone booth. They advanced in the direction that they came from, which is the north. Your diagram does not show any crossing of the street by the suspect.
No, it does not.
And your diagram does not show at any point that the suspect walked to the south towards your vehicle.
No, it does not.
All right? Now, that's your diagram. You also put your words into your report. Your report states that the suspect approached from the north at 2 p.m., right? Entered the phone booth. Exited the phone booth. Walked in the direction from which they approached from the north. Your diagram and your words, your drawing and your words show that. Now, earlier today, we heard a little bit about the description of the person that you saw. Before I move to that, your diagram shows that this is 40 feet. So your diagram does not show any movement at all, other than what is indicated there, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, with respect to what you testified to earlier, you testified today that the tan trench coat was belted at the waist.
Yes.
Belted at the waist is not in your report, right?
No, it was not.
Okay. Your words in your report do not include that the suspect was carrying a brown leather shoulder bag.
No, it does not.
Your words in your report do not show knee-high brown leather boots. Your words in your report do not show large hoop earrings. Your words in your report do not show the suspect that you saw wearing glasses.
No, sir.
Your words in your report do not show that the suspect was black.
No.
Your words in your report do not show that the suspect had short afro hair. Your words in your report show a female, 110 pounds, 5'4", with a tan trench coat.
Yes.
You would agree with me that many people are 5'4"?
Yes.
Many people that are 5'4" weigh 110 pounds? some of those people could be fiends. And that's what your words were in your report. Now, you were investigating the theft of our national secrets. This was the navigation system, right? Nuclear submarines. We go to war in this country over the possibility of nuclear weapons, correct? You are an FBI agent specializing in espionage with advanced surveillance technique experience, correct? There was an abandoned storefront right by the phone booth, correct, sir?
Yes.
There was an abandoned storefront right in front of the phone booth where you could have set up surveillance, correct?
Yes.
From there, you could have a camera which could record the minutia of what was happening in the phone booth, right? With that visual image, you could have brought that to this courtroom. You could have put it into a machine, whether it's a VHS or a digital. You could have turned it on, and each and every one of these ladies and gentlemen of the jury could have seen what happened there that evening, right? And each and every one of us is a potential victim of a crime of espionage. So each and every one of us, including every member of this jury, has a stake in what you do. But instead, you chose to be more than 60 feet away from the phone booth.
Yes.
That would be about this far.
Yes.
And you chose to do the surveillance with 2 agents going around the clock for 12 hours a day, correct?
Yes.
Sitting in the front seat because it was closest to the rear view mirror, right? With their back to the phone booth. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Looking into the mirror at a phone booth to make your surveillance.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. But I figured that if I'm
Mr. King, this is not your first time in the courtroom, is it?
No, it's not. It's not, ma'am.
And this is not your first time in shackles.
No.
You've had trouble with the law in the past.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it.
You've had run-ins with police.
Yeah.
Some of those run-ins with police have landed you in a court of law.
Yeah.
Some of those run-ins with police have landed you in the jail.
Yeah.
Some of those with the police and your experiences in jail and your times in the court of law have allowed you, have taught you some things, haven't they?
Like what?
Well, for one thing, you know some things about your rights, don't you?
No, a little bit.
You know, for example, that you have the right to remain silent.
Yeah, right.
You know you have the right not to answer any questions.
Right.
You know you have the right to a lawyer.
Yeah, I know that.
And those are rights that you have exercised in the past, aren't they?
Yeah.
There have been times when you've had run-ins with the police, when you said, I'm not saying it, haven't you?
Right.
You've had run-ins with the police where you say, I want a lawyer.
Yeah.
You've had run-ins with the police where you said, I am not answering any questions.
Yeah.
Now, on October 30th, you were arrested for an armed robbery.
Yeah, who got the day?
You were arrested for an armed robbery. You were caught red-handed, weren't you?
Yeah, I just surrendered.
Okay, you were caught with a gun.
Yeah.
The clerk said he's the man who did it.
Yeah.
You were caught red-handed.
Yeah.
And when the police brought you to the police station, they read you your rights.
Yeah.
Those rights you know pretty well.
Yeah.
The right to remain silent.
Yeah.
The right not to answer any questions.
Yeah.
The right to a lawyer.
Yeah.
And the police wanted to ask you some questions. didn't they?
About the rock.
About the robbery and about something else.
Yeah, I told them, I surrendered for the rock, you know?
They wanted to ask you some questions about a murder. didn't they?
Yeah.
They were really concerned about the murder. weren't they?
Yeah.
They told you one of their brothers had been shot down on the job.
Right.
And they told you they wanted your information, what you could tell them about that murder, didn't they?
Yeah.
And just as in the past they told you, you don't have to answer our questions. Right?
Yeah.
They told you you can have a lawyer here if you want. Didn't they?
Yeah.
And you said, no, I'll answer your questions. Right? Didn't you?
Yeah.
You said, I'll answer your questions. I've got nothing to hide. You told me.
You never had to.
Okay, that's what you told them. Right?
I had to.
Okay. And when they asked you questions, first they put you under oath, right? They told you, we want to know the truth about what happened to our brother. Right? Yes?
Yeah.
Oh. And they told you, we want to ask you some questions about the killing of a police officer. That's what they said to you. And unlike times in the past when you said, I'm not going to answer your questions, like times in the past when you said, I don't want to talk to you, like times in the past when you said, I want a lawyer here. This time, you answered that question, didn't you?
Yeah.
You told them, I don't know anything about that. Right?
That's what Bobby told me to say.
Okay. That's what you said to the police on October 30th. Right? That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
They even asked you, were you anywhere near where this murder occurred? Were you anywhere near that corner on October 15th? They asked you that question.
Right.
And unlike times in the past when you would have said, I'm not answering your questions. I don't have anything to say. I want a lawyer. On this occasion, you answered their question, right?
Yeah.
And you said, no, I wasn't anywhere near that. That's what you told them.
Oh, yeah, man.
All right, you told them, no, I wasn't near that corner. After you even told them you were at a movie, right? You told them you were at a movie with your girlfriend on the south side of town. That's what you told them. And then they asked you, do you have any information to help us find the person who killed our brother? They asked you that.
Yeah.
You didn't say, I'm not going to answer your question. Right?
Right.
You didn't say, I don't have anything to say to you. You didn't say, I want a lawyer. You said, I didn't even know a police officer was killed until you told me. That was your answer to that night.
Oh.
And they asked you, do you have anything else to add? And you told them, I told you absolute truth. That's what you told me that night.
Yeah.
You said, I told you absolute truth.
Yeah.
Now, after you talked to them on October 30th, you stayed in jail for a while, right?
Yeah.
You were in jail because of this armed robbery. And you had a lawyer then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. The lawyer was representing you on the armed robbery.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer came to you and said, they want you to testify in front of the grand jury about what you know about the police officer. You knew they were concerned you might have information about what happened to that police officer.
Right.
Lawyer told you, Mr. King, you have a right to remain silent.
Yeah.
That you have a right not to answer any of their questions.
Right.
You have a right to have a lawyer.
Yeah.
And you said, no, sir. I will answer their questions about that murder. You told them that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you agreed to go into that grand jury and answer questions about that murder. Didn't you?
Yeah.
And your lawyer said, all right, if you agree to do it, you can do it. Right?
Yeah.
Lawyer even went with you.
Yeah.
And you went to that grand jury. You went into a room a little smaller than the room we're in today.
Yeah.
But you had people here just like you do today.
Yeah.
And you had somebody asking you some questions.
Yeah.
Before they asked you any questions, they asked you to raise your right hand.
Yeah.
They asked you to tell the truth,
Yeah.
the whole truth,
Yeah.
nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Thompson asked you some questions. He asked you questions about October 15th when a police officer was killed in your town.
Yeah.
He asked you, where were you that night? That,
Yeah.
and with your lawyer sitting right next to you, with knowing you had the right to remain silent and the right not to answer any questions, you answered that question.
Yeah, I did.
You told those people, just like these people here, that you spent the entire evening on the south side, right?
That's what Bobby told me to say.
That's what you told those people in the grand jury.
Right.
And you told them you went to a movie with your girlfriend.
Right.
Mr. Thompson asked you, just like Officer Smith had asked you before, were you anywhere near where this police officer was gunned down? asked you, once again, just like they've asked you before, do you have any information? Do you have any information that can help us about who killed our brother? They asked you that. And you answered. You agreed to answer. You voluntarily answered. No, sir. I don't know him. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you said on December 2nd. And they asked, is there anything else you can tell us? They wanted your help, didn't they?
They did, I wanted to know.
They wanted your information, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they asked you, is there anything else you wish to add? And you answered no. No. You looked at those people and you said, no, I have told you the honest to God truth. Isn't that what you told them?
Yeah.
Now, some things changed from that time, December 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about December 15th. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, that's when I was arrested.
No, that was the day you were going to stand trial for Robin and Clark. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember the day they came and they brought you some clothes to wear to court?
Yeah.
You were going to stand trial for this armed robbery.
Right.
Now, you've been in a lot of trouble with the law, right? Haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
think everybody, kind of in trouble,
All right. But this was really the most serious problem you faced, standing trial for armed robbery, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were caught red-handed, right?
Yeah.
You knew they could prove you were guilty, right? And you knew you could get 20 years in prison.
I mean, I don't know about the time you get,
Now, sir, you had lots of conversations about what kind of time you could get, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. You were getting ready for trial. You were worried, weren't you?
Nervous.
Sure, because you knew you could get 20 years in prison. Right? Not a couple days at the detention center, right? Not probation, not a few months in jail. 20 years in prison. Serious, serious trouble this time. You knew that, didn't you?
I'm still my attorney talking about that. There's a lot going on.
Your attorney talked to you about what you were looking at if you went to trial, right? And your attorney was talking to you about what maybe your choices were.
Yeah.
One of your choices was to go to trial.
Yeah.
That wasn't such a great choice, was it?
Well, everybody that, I mean,
Let's talk about the choice of going to trial that day. You knew you'd be convicted, didn't you? You knew you'd put a gun in the face of a clerk.
Yeah.
You knew you had demanded money from the clerk while holding the gun in his face.
Yeah.
You knew you'd taken the money.
Yeah.
And you knew you'd gotten caught with the money, the gun, and the clerk saying he did it.
Yeah.
You knew you had used hope to get something that you wanted for yourself.
Now, I'm not proud of what I did.
And you knew 20 years in prison was a long time.
A long time.
Let's prison, you go to the bad prisons, don't you?
Yeah.
You go to the tough prisons.
Yeah.
You go to the rough prisons.
Yeah.
You go to the prisons where every day your life is in danger. Right?
Yeah.
You go to the prisons where other inmates have weapons.
Hear about things like that.
You go to the prisons where they might rape a nice young man like you.
You know.
You've heard about those things, haven't you?
Yeah.
You go to prisons where there's violence and killing every day. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
You know you go to prisons and you have to watch your back every day.
Yes.
You gotta watch your back when you're awake, and you better have somebody watching your back while you're asleep. Those are the kind of prisons you go to with a 20-year sentence. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
You know that. You go to the prisons where they watch you eat, right? They watch you sleep,
Right.
they watch you bathe, they even watch you using the bathroom.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of prisons you go to. You go to the prisons where you never see sunlight, never hear the rain, never get to eat your mother's cake. Those are the prisons you go to. Aren't they?
Yeah.
20 years is a long time to live, if you live like that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's one of your choices you had on December 15th. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, you also had another pretty serious problem, didn't you?
Yeah. Bobby threatened.
Well, you had a pretty serious problem about the government threatening to indict you for first-degree murder, didn't you?
Yeah.
Your lawyer told you they may indict you for killing that police officer.
I didn't kill him.
Well, I know, Mr. King, but you know, you don't have to be guilty to be charged with a crime, do you? You don't even have to be guilty to be convicted of a crime, do you?
Right.
You know that you can be convicted of first-degree murder, not even be guilty. Right?
Right.
And you know that if you get convicted of first-degree murder, you can get the death penalty. Especially if you're talking about the killing of a police officer. Right?
Yeah.
Your lawyer, of course, talked to you about all this, like you said,
Right.
right? You knew you could get charged, you could get convicted, and you could get the death penalty for murder. You knew that on December 15th. You knew that the death penalty was a different ballgame. You knew that too.
Yeah.
You knew that if you got the death penalty, you'd go to a very special prison. You go to a prison called Waverly.
Yeah.
And when you go to a prison called Rayford, you don't have to worry about sharing cells with people because you get your very own. Don't you?
Yeah.
You get your very own cell, and that's where you stay. Right? talk to people. You don't get to meet them, right? You get your very own self that you live in, all by yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Hoping and praying that you'll have the privilege to spend the rest of your life in it.
Yes.
And you might not live up to that. You might actually come to the day they say, you might come to the day when they say, Mr. King, your mom is here. Your mom is here to say goodbye. You might come to the day that your mother gets to come in and sit with you. Right?
Yeah.
She gets to come in and sit with you, hold your hand, and weep, hug you. You know that day
Yeah.
your mother is here. You know the day could come when she would say, and after she would say goodbye, they would take you. They'd take you down a hall, right?
Yeah.
They'd take you into a room, pretty small room, with a bed on it.
Yeah.
And when you walk into that room, you'd see a glass. You know this. You'd see a big window, right? And you'd see Officer Johnson's hand standing outside that. You would see them there to watch you die. You know that's what would happen. And they lay you down on the bed. Put some straps on your arms so you couldn't move.
Yeah.
They put a needle in your arm. And your last view would be the officer standing, watching you die. You know that would happen. But all of that changed when you got a second choice on December 15th, right?
Yeah.
All of that changed when your lawyer said, you've got not just one choice, you have two choices. Right?
Yeah.
You have a choice of talking to the prosecutor about some things. Right?
Yeah.
You have a choice of telling them what what they've told you they so want to hear. Right?
Yeah.
You have a choice of telling them what they so want to hear so they can prosecute somebody for the murder of their brother. Right?
Yeah.
You have a choice to get your change everything. Right?
Yeah.
And that choice is to tell them what they want to hear so they can prosecute who killed their brother. Right?
Yeah.
And in return, you would get not 20 years in a bad prison, right?
Yeah.
Not death, being witnessed,
Good afternoon, Ms. Evans. My name is Bert Shostak, and I represent Sally Sanders. We have never met. We have never discussed the case about which you have been called here to tell your story about. About 2 weeks ago, an investigator from my office served you a subpoena to be here. And in between the time he served you the subpoena and today, you talked to the prosecuting attorney, did you not? And the prosecuting attorney is at the table over here with some other gentleman, is he not? Okay. Can you tell me what he's wearing?
Gray suit, pink shirt,
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified prosecution attorney James Crow. When you spoke to him, he also subpoenaed you here, did he not? You work at Juniper Cotton Mills, do you not? And you've been there 15 years? And you worked your way from where you began all the way to supervisor, did you not? And you supervise a number of people in that cotton mill, correct? Okay. The factory is near the intersection of South Street and Juniper, is it not? Okay. I'm going to show you a diagram that has been stipulated to between the prosecutor and myself, okay, as being an accurate drawing of that intersection, okay? So let's talk about it. It's familiar, right? Okay. We can see that the streets Juniper and South Street cross each other, correct? Each of them is 2 lanes wide, right?
Yes.
There is in the center of that intersection an overhang traffic light. And the traffic light has positions for a red, yellow, and green light, right? With a little cap over each of them, kind of like a little baseball cap over each of them, right? Okay? And we know that this diagram shows that north is at the top and south is at the bottom, correct? East is to the right and west is to the left, right? Your cotton factory is located right here on a little behind the northwest corner of the intersection, isn't it? Okay. Now, on Friday, January 11th, you get off work at about 4:30 in the afternoon, correct? Okay, now, do I understand, Ms. Adams, that you yourself don't drive?
I don't know.
Okay, so you don't drive to work and you don't drive from work, correct? But you get there by virtue of the fact that one of your co-workers drives you, right? Gladys Hamill? doesn't work there, does she? Where you work, at the cotton mill. She works at a different place. And you arranged with her to have you picked up by her at about 4:45 in the afternoon, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And on January 11th, you leave the Juniper Cotton Factory, and you walk over to the northwest corner of the intersection, correct? Okay. Now, when you get there, roughly some 20 or 25 feet north of the intersection, because you came out of the door and you walked straight ahead, correct? And you're facing to the north because that's the direction from which Miss Hamilton would come, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she would be coming the way that the arrow is pointed for a Ford automobile, correct? She'd be coming that way.
She would be.
And she would take you in the car here, where you're standing, correct? Close to the curb so that you can get in the car, right?
Yes.
And she would take you and go straight down south because you live in the south part of the town,
That's correct.
correct? Okay. Now, when you're standing at the corner, waiting for her, your whole body is turned so that you're looking for her to come down the street, correct?
Well, I just kind of stood on the corner and I looked up.
Yeah.
Thinking she was
Okay.
coming, but I was turning.
Okay. But you were looking that way,
Every once in a
Wait.
while, I glanced up.
okay, and because that's the direction from which she would come.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And as you face that way, looking for her, you hear the screeching of brakes,
Yes.
correct? A Ford automobile passes you by,
Yes.
correct? And there's a collision with a Volkswagen at that intersection,
Yes. That's
right? And when you hear the screeching of brakes, you turn around and you look up at that traffic signal, right?
Well, I was standing facing the traffic light, parking,
Okay,
turn around.
all right.
I was standing in that direction.
And as you told the jury today, just some 15 minutes ago, you said that the light was green for this Volkswagen.
Yes.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Now, I want you to think back a couple of years ago when this accident happened. On January 15th, 2002, my investigator, Jim Johnson, came to your home. He identified himself to you, okay? And he was courteous to you,
He was.
and you in turn, by the way, were courteous to him. You discussed the accident that took place, and he wrote down what you told him,
That's
right? You were truthful with him,
the best of my knowledge.
told him everything that you could recall, and he made the notes, which you looked at, right?
I glanced at them.
He explained to you that he wanted you to read them over, right?
Yeah.
And you did read them over, right?
I remember glancing at the same.
And you remember him telling you that if there are any changes, make the changes and initial. Remember that.
A long time, but I think that's how it went.
Okay. And you didn't make any changes. you signed it, right? Okay. And he witnessed your signature, right?
So,
Ms. Adams, I want to hand you that which has been marked as Defendant's Exhibit Number 1 for purposes of identification, and I have given a copy of it to Mr. Crowe, the prosecutor, and ask you if that's the statement that you gave to my investigator on January 15, 2002.
seems familiar, it's my signature.
Okay? That being the case, I would move it in evidence. That way, you and I can discuss it. The statement says at the top, it's a statement of Leslie Adams, correct? Okay? And when you gave that statement, it was only 4 days after the accident occurred, correct? Okay? And obviously, your memory would be better 4 days after it occurred than 2 weeks ago when you talked with the prosecutor some 2 years later, wouldn't it?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, let's take a look at the statement and see what you told him. Your name is Leslie Adams, correct?
Yes.
You work as a supervisor at the Cox factory,
Yes.
correct? Last Friday, January the 11th, you were outside the factory on the northwest corner of Juniper and South Streets. Says that, right? Waiting for your ride, correct? It says you live on the 4 South side, right? And your ride was supposed to be coming from North Juniper, right?
Yes.
I saw a southbound Ford hit an eastbound Volkswagen, right?
Yes.
Is that your signature where it says Leslie Adams?
That is my signature.
Okay? And does the last line of that statement say, the light was green for the southbound traffic?
Yes.
I don't have anything further. Thank you. You're all free to go.
Hey, Alex, I got a question about